In the cold, vast emptiness of space, a small research station drifted quietly near the edge of a forgotten solar system. Commander Kira Park stood motionless, her reflection barely visible in the thick glass of the observation window. Behind her, holographic displays flickered with fragments of historical data, records of humanity's most devastating defeat. 50 years had passed since the Galactic Alliance's brutal campaign against human colonies. What began as a simple territorial dispute had transformed into a systematic extermination. The Alien Confederation, led by the ruthless Vorin Council, had methodically destroyed human settlements, believing they were eliminating a potential threat to their galactic dominance. They were wrong. Kira's fingers traced a small scar on her neck, a reminder of the night her parents were killed during the Third Colony Massacre. She was just 12 when armed alien troops stormed their settlement on Europa Prime, burning everything to ash. She had survived by hiding in a maintenance shaft, watching helplessly as her entire world collapsed around her. The research station hummed with quiet intensity. Scattered across its sterile corridors were survivors like her, men and women who had lost everything but retained something the aliens could never understand, an unbreakable spirit of resilience. Dr. Eli Kim approached, his datapad displaying complex mathematical calculations. "We've completed the quantum adaptive network simulation," he said softly. His hands were steady, but his eyes burned with a quiet rage that matched Kara's own. The station housed the last remnants of human technological expertise. After the war, most believed humanity was finished. The Galactic Alliance had reduced human populations to less than 1 million across the known universe. They thought they had won. But survivors gathered. They remembered. They planned. Scattered refugee camps on remote asteroids and hidden planetary bases became centers of resistance. Engineers, scientists, and former military personnel worked tirelessly, developing technologies that would eventually challenge the alien supremacy. Kira understood something fundamental about human nature that the Vorin Council had overlooked: humans adapt. Where other species would have surrendered, humans reconstructed. Where others saw defeat, humans saw an opportunity for revenge. The research station's core systems represented decades of stolen alien technology, reverse-engineered and improved upon. Quantum computing systems that could predict combat scenarios with terrifying accuracy. Adaptive weapon platforms that could reconfigure themselves faster than any known defensive system. "The first phase is ready," Dr. Kim said, his voice devoid of emotion. "We can initiate the strike sequence within 72 hours. Kira nodded. She had spent her entire life preparing for this moment. Not just for herself, but for every human who had died under alien weapons. For every colony burned. For every family destroyed. Outside the observation window, distant stars seemed to wait in anticipation. Space had always been humanity's greatest challenge and most significant opportunity. Now, it would become their instrument of justice. The station's crew moved with precise, calculated movements. Each person knew their role. Each understood the weight of their mission. They were no longer just survivors, they were architects of humanity's resurrection. Dr. Kim pulled up a holographic map showing potential attack vectors. Decades of careful planning had identified the most vulnerable points in the Galactic Alliance's defense network. Their strategy wasn't about total destruction, but strategic precision. Kira's communication device chirped. An encrypted message from their last remaining deep cover operative within the Vorin Council confirmed their intelligence. The timing was perfect. "We're ready," she whispered, more to herself than to anyone else. The forgotten remnants of humanity were about to remind the galaxy why they were never truly defeated. They were about to settle a score decades in the making. And the galaxy would shudder when they arrived. The research facility was unlike any other hidden base in human history. Buried deep within an artificial asteroid, it pulsed with a quiet, dangerous energy. Dr. Eli Kim moved between advanced workstations, his fingers dancing across holographic interfaces that displayed complex weapon designs and strategic simulations. Every computer, every circuit, every piece of technology represented humanity's silent revenge. The facility housed less than 200 people, but each was a specialist: engineers, quantum physicists, combat strategists, and former military personnel who had survived the initial alien attacks. Kara Park watched the team's work. Their newest weapon system was something unprecedented: an adaptive combat intelligence that could predict and counter alien defensive strategies in milliseconds. Traditional warfare relied on preset tactics, but humans had learned to be unpredictable. The quantum adaptive system looked like a simple silver disk, no larger than a human palm. But inside that small device lay computational power that could analyze and deconstruct entire military networks in moments. Dr. Kim had spent 15 years developing this technology, stealing fragments of alien computing systems and reconstructing them with human ingenuity. The neural interface is stable, Dr. Kim reported, his voice calm and measured. We can now integrate human tactical thinking directly into combat systems. Nearby, a group of engineers worked on modifying spacecraft designs. They had studied alien technology for decades, understanding every weakness, every potential vulnerability. The new human ships would look nothing like traditional spacecraft; they were more like living machines that could adapt and transform during combat. Kira remembered the stories her parents told her about human potential. How humans had always been underestimated. How they transformed challenges into opportunities. The alien races had forgotten this fundamental truth about humanity. The facility's power systems were equally revolutionary. Drawing energy from quantum vacuum fluctuations, they could generate massive amounts of power without leaving any traditional energy signatures. This meant they could operate completely undetected. Training simulations ran continuously. Holographic battlefields showed potential combat scenarios against the Vorin Council's most advanced defense networks. Each simulation ended the same way: human forces breaking through with surgical precision. We're not just preparing for war, Kara told Dr. Kim. We're preparing to remind the galaxy who humans really are. Their communication networks were equally sophisticated. Using quantum entanglement, they could send encrypted messages across vast distances without any possibility of interception. Each message was a thread in a larger tapestry of resistance. Young specialists moved with purpose. Many had lost family during the alien attacks. Their pain had transformed into a cold, calculated determination. They were not seeking simple revenge, they were seeking systemic justice. Dr. Kim pulled up a holographic display showing potential attack routes. Each line represented months of careful planning, each point a potential weakness in the Vorin Council's defensive structure. They had studied alien military strategies so thoroughly that they could predict responses before they happened. The facility's medical bay contained another secret weapon: advanced regenerative technologies that could heal human soldiers faster than any known medical system. Injuries that would have been fatal during previous conflicts could now be treated within minutes. We are ready, Dr. Kim finally announced. Kara looked at the team: engineers, soldiers, scientists. They were humanity's last hope, and they knew it. No grand speeches were needed. No dramatic declarations of war. Just quiet, calculated preparation. The asteroid facility continued its silent work, a hidden heartbeat of human resistance. Outside, stars moved indifferently. But something was changing. Humanity was no longer just surviving. They were preparing to fight back. And the galaxy had no idea what was coming. The moment arrived without warning. Human ships emerged from quantum-fold spaces, silent and deadly like predators rising from deep waters. Commander Kara Park's flagship, the Phoenix, led the attack formation with calculated precision. Alien defense networks collapsed before they could even comprehend the attack. The adaptive combat intelligence developed by Dr. Eli Kim worked perfectly, predicting and neutralizing defensive systems faster than any known computational method. Battle Group Alpha moved like a synchronized machine. Each spacecraft functioned as a single organic unit, their quantum adaptive systems communicating instantaneously. The Vorin Council's most advanced defense platforms became obsolete within minutes. Tactical screens showed the impossible happening. Human forces were destroying critical infrastructure without losing a single vessel. Their technology had transformed warfare from a game of massive force to surgical precision. Lieutenant J. Ryu, piloting a stealth interceptor, moved through alien defense grids like a ghost. His neural interface allowed him to process combat information at speeds that would have killed a normal human pilot. Each movement was a calculated dance of destruction. The first wave targeted communication networks. Entire alien communication systems went dark, creating instant chaos among the Vorin Council's military command. Without communication, their vast military machine became blind and confused. Orbital stations exploded in silent, beautiful patterns. Each destruction was a calculated message humanity had returned, and they were no longer victims. Dr. Kim watched from the research facility, his fingers moving across holographic interfaces. Every system performed exactly as predicted. Years of careful planning were now becoming reality. Alien response teams tried to counterattack, but their weapons seemed primitive against human adaptive technologies. Missiles were redirected, energy weapons absorbed and transformed, defensive shields collapsed like paper structures. Commander Park's voice remained calm across communication channels. Target acquired. Proceed with systematic dismantling of defensive networks. The attack wasn't about total destruction. It was a precise surgical strike designed to demonstrate humanity's technological superiority. Each destroyed platform was a message, a reminder of past atrocities. Quantum communication networks allowed human forces to coordinate with impossible efficiency. Where alien militaries required complex command structures, human teams moved with intuitive, adaptive strategies. Lieutenant Ryu's interceptor disabled a massive defense platform with a single, precise energy burst. The platform's complex systems simply ceased functioning, its massive structure drifting helplessly in space. Backup systems for the Vorin Council collapsed one by one. Their most advanced AI defense networks were overwhelmed by human technological innovations. It was like watching a modern army fight with stone weapons against laser technology. The first strike lasted less than 3 hours. When it ended, the Vorin Council's military infrastructure was in complete disarray. They had lost over 70% of their critical defense platforms without understanding how or why. Commander Park watched the tactical displays, her expression unchanged. This was not just a military operation. This was justice being served with technological precision. Dr. Kim's voice crackled over the communication system. All systems performing at 99.8% efficiency. First phase complete. The human fleet began to disperse, leaving behind a battlefield that would become legendary. No massive explosions. No dramatic destructions. Just calculated, precise elimination of threat systems. Alien communication channels were filled with confusion and panic. Their most advanced military minds could not comprehend what had just happened. Humanity had transformed from a nearly extinct species to a technological force that could dismantle entire defense networks in hours. As the Phoenix moved away from the battle zone, Commander Park allowed herself a small, controlled smile. The first strike was complete. The message was sent. Humanity had returned. And they were nothing like anyone remembered. The Vorin Council's emergency session descended into chaos. Representatives from 12 different alien civilizations screamed accusations and demanded explanations. Their holographic projections flickered with raw panic, something they had never experienced before. Impossible, growled Elder Tran, the senior military strategist. Humans cannot have developed such technology. But they had. Intelligence reports confirmed humanity's devastating first strike. Entire defense networks had been systematically disabled without traditional weapon signatures. It was like fighting a ghost, precise, calculated, and completely unpredictable. The alien races began mobilizing their remaining military assets. Massive battleships were recalled from distant colonies. Weapon systems that had been dormant for centuries were rapidly activated. They would crush the human resistance once and for all. Commander Kira Park anticipated their response. The human tactical team had already predicted every possible counter-strategy. Their quantum adaptive systems were 3 steps ahead of any alien military planning. Lieutenant J. Ryu prepared interceptor squadrons. Each pilot was connected through advanced neural interfaces, allowing them to communicate and coordinate faster than traditional command structures. Where alien militaries required complex hierarchies, humans moved like a single intelligent organism. The first alien counterattack came from the Sigma Quadrant. 300 battleships emerged from hyperspace, their weapons charging with enough energy to destroy entire planetary systems. They expected total victory. They were wrong. Human defensive platforms activated silently. Adaptive shield technologies absorbed incoming energy weapons, redirecting their power. Alien missiles found themselves suddenly changing trajectories, returning to their original launch points. Dr. Eli Kim watched the battle unfold from the research station. Each alien strategy was like a predictable chess move. Humanity had studied their potential responses for decades, developing countermeasures that made traditional warfare look primitive. Psychological warfare became an unexpected weapon. Human communication channels broadcast precise details of past alien atrocities. Images of destroyed human colonies, massacred civilian populations played across alien communication networks. The alien militaries found themselves fighting not just a technological superior, but a species driven by a deep, calculated rage. Alien command structures began to fracture. Some military units refused to continue the attack, paralyzed by the unexpected human resistance. Others demanded immediate retreat. Panic started spreading faster than their communication networks could manage. Commander Park's voice remained calm. Maintain tactical formation. Let them understand the full extent of their mistake. Each human ship moved with surgical precision. They were not just fighting, they were systematically demonstrating technological superiority that made alien weapon systems look like ancient artifacts. Entire alien battle groups found themselves neutralized within hours. Not through massive destructions, but through precise, calculated technological disruptions. Human forces dismantled defense systems without firing a single traditional weapon. The psychological impact was total. Races that had once hunted humans now trembled at their name. The galaxy watched in stunned silence as humanity transformed from a nearly extinct species to a technological force that could dismantle entire military networks. Dr. Kim's adaptive combat intelligence continued processing potential scenarios faster than any known computational system. Each alien strategy was predicted, countered, and neutralized before it could be fully implemented. Lieutenant Ryu's interceptor squadron moved like liquid mercury through battle zones. Neural interfaces allowed them to predict and avoid potential threats with impossible accuracy. Where alien pilots required complex decision-making processes, humans responded with intuitive, adaptive strategies. As the battle concluded, the message was clear. Humanity was no longer a species to be overlooked or destroyed. They had become something else entirely, a technological force that could reshape galactic power structures with cold, calculated precision. The Vorin Council's emergency session ended not with declarations of war, but with stunned silence. Humanity had just demonstrated that they were not just survivors. They were architects of a new galactic order. The final confrontation happened in the central chamber of the Galactic Council. Commander Kira Park stood alone, her presence more powerful than any weapon. Behind her, holographic displays showed humanity's complete military victory. Alien representatives sat in shocked silence. Their once mighty civilizations now looked like broken children facing an unexpected guardian. The Vorin Council's elder members could not comprehend how humanity had transformed from a nearly extinct species to a technological force that could dismantle entire galactic networks. 50 years ago, you tried to eliminate us, Kira said quietly. Her voice carried the weight of generations of suffering. Today, we demonstrate why that was a fatal mistake. Dr. Eli Kim's adaptive combat intelligence had already disabled most of their communication and defensive systems. The aliens were essentially prisoners in their own council chamber, their technological superiority stripped away in moments. Each alien representative carried the memories of past attacks on human colonies. They remembered burning settlements, destroyed populations, what they believed was complete extinction. Now, those memories turned to ash in their collective consciousness. Lieutenant J. Ryu stood at the chamber's entrance, his neural-linked combat suit ready for any potential resistance. But there would be no resistance. Humanity's victory was total and complete. The terms of surrender were simple and devastating. Human colonies would be restored. Reparations would be paid. And the alien civilizations would acknowledge their past crimes. You thought we were weak, Kira continued. You believed extinction was our destiny. We are humanity. We do not accept destinies. We create them. Holographic displays showed the complete dismantling of alien military infrastructures. Not through destruction, but through precise technological interventions that made their most advanced systems look like primitive toys. The Vorin Council's elder, who had personally overseen human colony destructions decades ago, now looked like a defeated child. His technological superiority had been completely neutralized by human innovation. Dr. Kim's adaptive systems had predicted and countered every potential alien response before they could even formulate a strategy. Where alien militaries required complex hierarchies, humans moved like a single intelligent organism. Humanity was not seeking revenge. They were seeking justice. The council chamber remained silent. Alien representatives understood they were witnessing a fundamental shift in galactic power structures. Humanity was no longer a species to be controlled or eliminated. They had become something else entirely. Commander Park's final statement was calm and calculated. We are not here to destroy. We are here to reset the balance. Reparation protocols were immediately implemented. Stolen human technologies would be returned. Destroyed colonies would be rebuilt. And the alien civilizations would be required to provide technological and economic support. The quantum adaptive systems developed by human researchers had transformed warfare from a game of massive force to surgical precision. Each movement was a calculated demonstration of technological superiority. As the negotiations concluded, it became clear that humanity had done more than win a war. They had restructured the entire galactic political landscape. Lieutenant Ryu's neural interfaces continued monitoring potential threats, but there would be none. The message was clear: humanity was no longer a species to be overlooked. They were architects of a new galactic order. The chamber's holographic displays continued showing humanity's complete technological superiority. Not through aggressive displays, but through calm, calculated demonstrations of their capabilities. Dr. Kim looked at Commander Park. No words were needed. They had achieved what generations before them had only dreamed about: complete restoration of human civilization and a fundamental restructuring of galactic power dynamics. The galaxy would never be the same. Humanity had settled the score. And they had done it with technological precision that would be remembered for generations.